The following presentation is an AI-free production, 100% researched, written, and edited by actual human beings. All mistakes are purely human error, guaranteed.
Hello, dig for bones.
I don't think anyone knows that I'm the one cut off your toes and put them in the drawer with the sock.
Hello, and welcome to the Least Haunted Podcast, a place where science, skepticism, humor, and anthropology meet to discuss all things spooky, haunting, supernatural, and sometimes just the plain ridiculous. I'm your host, Cody Franks, and joining me as almost always is bellowing and braying as a Bacchanalia's body band, boisterously boyish and bright. Back to bed I belong.
Boy, no, actually, I slept well last night. My name's Garth. Hi. Hello. I'm the co-host. Welcome to the Least Haunted Podcast. We always try to ramble through our intros. We have a Discord. We have a Patreon. Check those out. Check out the Trevor Project and what else?
Lots of things.
Trans Lifeline. Yes. All those things.
I think that back to bed I belong was actually
What
a
was
comment. I think that came from Moneken.
Oh, Moneken was probably wanting to go back to sleep, and he
'Cause
thought
that
of
was
the
the-
Garth's
yeah.
Corner intro in the middle of the night.
Well, no, because it's because
He
this.
dreams in Garth's Corner alliteration.
I panicked and realized first thing this morning that I didn't have a moniker, and we were going to record at 10, and so I quickly at like 8 in the morning fired off on there like, hey, everybody, emergency, I need this.
I just imagine Ken like having an alarm go off in his room. Ken, the podcast needs you, and he like blearily wakes up and comes up with some beautiful alliteration and then goes back to bed. I just realized that I mixed up Garth's Corner with Garth's moniker. I never noticed how similar those words are.
Moniker.
Moniker.
Monicorner.
Well, welcome to the show, guys. That was a little bit of a patchy start, but here we are. We're ready to regale you with yet another beautiful episode about wonderful
Yes,
things.
and I know that like UFO month is over, and we just talked about Roswell, but I didn't realize at the time that like I put you on the spot and I gave you two choices for episodes.
You did.
And if you watched our video last week or the last release
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, thank you.
Yep.
You would have seen this moment where I gave Garth the choice, and he chose rods as the topic we're going to talk about, not realizing I didn't fully realize that it is still tangentially tied to UFOs and also Roswell.
There you go. So really, this could have been the next episode,
It's just
which would have given me another 2 weeks to edit all that video. But
Yeah.
no.
Well,
We're
this
going to do it in the
comes
order we
af-
decided.
Yeah, well, this also chronologically comes much later.
That's true. It would be confusing to everybody.
Yes. Although, actually, we're going to start the story probably the 1960s because I got to introduce this guy to you. His name
Okay.
is Jose Escamilla,
Okay.
and he is from Roswell, New Mexico.
All right. So, as you'll remember Roswell, well, picture yourself there now. It's 1960. And walking down the street, we have our main protagonist.
Yeah, so he was born in 1951, and so at this point he's a teenager,
Mhm.
and he and a few of his friends, starting at the age of 14, they started a band, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
So he is in a like garage band in Roswell, New Mexico in the 1960s. And they record a song that was a minor chart hit. It was number 11 in New Mexico, Garth,
Oh, nice.
at the same time that the Beatles were like number 1. So that's still a pretty big deal. They're like, hey, we at least charted against the Beatles.
That's
sort of.
amazing. Can we play a little bit of without a
Yeah,
copyright
this is,
strike? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Oh, it's like surf music. It's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
I saw my girl the other day.
Nice.
Okay. So
All right, I got it. Yeah.
so the song's called But I Still Love Her. And they had one other song that was called All I Want Is You.
These are all variations of Beatles. And I love her. No, but I still love her.
Yes. Yes.
She loves you. All I want is you. Yeah.
They won a battle of the bands in New Mexico and got
Nice.
radio play in, I think, Albuquerque.
Nice.
But the band ended in like 1968. And after that, he did some solo music stuff through the 1970s. And then in the 1980s, he and his brother write a number of like children's books. They were a series of books where the intended reader was listed as child. I don't know what that
Okay,
means.
that's pretty
But
broad,
yeah,
but okay.
yeah. He did some illustration, and then he started working in film.
Wow. A renaissance man of an artist. Lots
Yeah,
of
yeah. He
different
ended up
mediums.
as like an extra he was a background extra in a film that was filmed in Roswell called Up Your Alley. And through that, he just kind of like started pushing his way in and talking to some of the actors who were on that and making connections. 1990, he makes a children's animated show called Donnie the Deinonychus.
Never heard of it.
No one has, Garth.
I was a child in 1990. Well, I was a
I
young
looked it
child.
up. I actually found like the first episode of it on YouTube, and to call it like a cartoon is kind of a stretch. It's more like an illustrated book.
It's like reading Rainbow, where you
Yes.
see the still images,
And
then
sometimes
there's-
one might flip around or move a little bit.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And it appears to be about a helpful Deinonychus dinosaur talking to children. Like this is pre-Barney.
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 Proto-Barney.
And like teaching them moral lessons
Hmm.
about like, here's memories from when I was a child in the dinosaur times. And then there's like some scientists who are trying to catch him. So there's like that aspect.
I love from a kid's perspective, the scientists are trying to get those dinosaurs. Those archaeologists. He's always one step ahead of the archaeologists.
It featured the voices of like Ed Begley Jr. and Richard Mole, who people might know from Night Court. Anyway, sometime around like the early 1990s, he starts getting into UFOs. I mean, it took that long. He's from Roswell, but it wasn't until after he moved to California.
Did you know that our hometown was actually the place where a UFO landed? Yeah, dude, we know about this.
Yes, so
we grew up in Roswell.
So his sister, still living back in New Mexico.
What was his name again?
Jose.
Jose
Escamilla.
Okay.
Well, actually, he was born Jesus, but he goes by Jose.
Okay, Jose's. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Which is funny because Jose is Joseph, and Joseph would have been the father of Jesus. But his real name is Jesus, but he goes by anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Whoa.
So in March 5th, 1994, his sister is camping in Midway, New Mexico, and she says that there's some objects that are flying straight up ahead above her, UFOs. So she calls her brother and says, "Hey, you got to come film this. Like, there's UFOs."
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and he films these objects in the sky. He sells the footage to like the TV show Hard Copy.
Oh man, I remember that show.
Yeah, Hard Copy. We'll play a clip right here.
More on the Pentagon Playboys as the story unfolds. But now, step aside, Sigmund Freud. Jump back, Joyce Brothers. It's Dr. James Harvey, therapist to the dead.
Okay. He made some like crazy claims about these objects he films. There's like 5 silvery objects floating around in the sky. He claims that they might have been moving at about 2,000 miles an hour.
I love how people try to estimate distance in the sky. Yeah. All right. Why not? 2,000 miles an hour.
So then he's like going over this footage again later, and he makes a startling discovery.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we get to the crux. This is what...
I'll insert or you can. Bum, bum, bum.
He's watching it in slow motion because he's really trying to study these orbs. And an object flies through frame really fast, and it appears to be a long cylindrical object with multiple wings on it.
Oh.
And it's moving, and it passes through. He's like, well, that's weird. From this, though, he like starts looking at other footage, and he sees the same things. These things are showing up in footage. And not just UFO footage. These are, because first his instinct is this is tied to the UFO, but this is showing up in footage from like mundane activities around the world.
This is a long cylinder with multiple wings flying around.
Yes.
In different footage all over.
Yes. And it's going, and it seems to be going so fast, Garth, that nobody can see it with the naked eye.
And he's just seeing him by looking back through footage with
playing
frame
slow
by
motion.
frame.
Yes,
okay.
and seeing him pass through.
I don't know. It sounds like it's an optical thing.
And so he dubs these rods because they're rod shaped, you see.
Okay.
And they're much cooler than Todd's.
Yeah.
He also calls them skyfish.
Well, I like that a lot more than rods, because that's kind of pretty generic, but skyfish.
Skyfish.
Yeah.
As I described them, they appear as long cylindrical objects with either multiple sets of wings or it might even be that they have two long membranous fins along the side that undulate.
Ooh, like eel.
And that kind of propels them through the air. The idea is that these are
Cool.
biological living organisms.
Okay. So are they like straight salt, like unmoving rods, or do they wobble?
That's hard to, it's
Okay,
hard to tell
hard
from
to
the footage.
tell.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
hard to tell
okay.
from the footage. These now become like his new focus. You know, he was getting into UFOs, and now suddenly he's like, no, screw the UFOs. We have bigger sky fish to fry here.
Unidentified swimming objects.
Yes.
Through the
And these
air.
things are moving through the air, and that they're all around us, and we're unaware because of how fast they move. And also there's like different sized ones. They could be very small. Some can be like hundreds of feet long
Wow.
because he sees them up in the sky moving through clouds.
What an exciting idea that there's all these crazy monsters that we just can't quite see all up in the air above us.
And this
Always have
idea,
been.
I mean, and it catches the
Yeah.
public attention at the time. It becomes kind of a fashionable thing because then he actually comes up with like a protocol on how anybody using their home camcorder can catch rods. And this is supposedly proof that they're real.
That's pretty good proof if it's replicatable.
Yes, the fact that it's replicatable will also be part of the downfall.
I want to see a rod, Cody. Can we see rods?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I'm excited to see a
Before I get to
rod.
that, the idea is you touched on this idea of how crazy it would be if there was actually stuff up in the sky.
Yeah.
This is actually a very old idea that goes back to like certain earlier religions. Even the Book of Genesis kind of makes this distinction that the air is a type of water.
Yeah. Okay.
The gases in the atmosphere actually do behave. They follow fluid dynamics. It is like we are in
And
a
clouds
sea of gas.
Clouds moving around look like they're floating in a way that things billowing in water look.
And and
there's
as
a
we-
lot to that.
And as we discussed in the last episode, that there are different layers of the atmosphere that
Sure.
behave differently with different densities and makeup. And so surely there could be things that might be living up there. And then it turns out there actually are. There's certain bacteria that is perpetually airborne.
Wow.
There's like mold spores and
They
bacteria.
never hit the ground. They're just always floating
they're
around.
up in the stratosphere and they've
Wow.
never hit the ground so long that they've actually like drifted. Like they are different than the things that are down below.
Wow.
Right?
And they live their entire lives
Just drifting
above
up
the
there.
earth.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
Yeah, there's early folklore stories about the sky being a type of ocean and that there are actually like entities and creatures that live up there. And sometimes it's like the opposite of a fish jumping up out of water is they come too low and they drop down and they get stuck and stranded down here and flop around. And we see these weird things.
that's
Victor
great,
Hugo, in his novel Toilers of the Sea, 1866, has a character that thinks about and speculates on what kind of life might be living up in the sea, up in the air.
Yeah.
And that it just stands to reason that, yeah, if such is below the ocean,
As
why
below,
not above?
so
Yeah.
above. Yes.
In 1913, Arthur Conan Doyle wrote a horror story called The Horror of the Heights, about a bizarre ecosystem that's up in the atmosphere that has giant jellyfish monsters and airborne carnivores.
Roald Dahl in the book James and the Giant Peach had a bunch of creatures that live in the clouds. That was a whole adventure in that
Yeah.
book.
And I think that this also kind of reminds me of H.P. Lovecraft's From Beyond.
Oh, okay.
In that one, they were like jellyfish, worm-like creatures that were like in an extra dimension that we just couldn't perceive, but they were all around us and passing through us
Right.
because we were juxtaposed.
But
right?
we're not quite on the same plane
But
to
then if you
notice them.
activate the pineal gland,
That's
the
right.
pineal gland, you fool, then you'll see them.
Oh, it reminds me of that other short story we covered at some point. I think it might have been in one of our campfire episodes about the colors that no one can see. So there's like
Yeah.
invisible animals
Where that guy,
that are not
that guy,
just outside of our field of view.
the dude who wrote The Predator in like the 1800s.
Yeah,
that's a good one. So yeah, these are things that we're not seeing them because they're moving too fast, or maybe some theorists believe that they actually are like the things from beyond, and it is an interdimensional thing that is briefly breaking through our reality and passing through.
There
It just
was
happens to be caught on camera.
There was even a twilight zone between the minutes where there's movers, like between the minutes in time that we perceive that like move stuff around. So yeah, there's a rich
there's a Star Trek
history.
about this. Remember, Barclay won't go through the transporter,
Oh,
and they did
yeah.
the one time they get him to
There's
go
like
through.
little amoebas in there that turn out to
They're
spoilers.
interphasic life forms.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do with that idea.
So there's a lot of pop culture things that already have this idea. So when somebody sees a thing on camera, it might be easy for them to make that jump that like, oh, this.
I've heard of this thing before.
Right.
Yeah.
He ends up going on Art Bell, Coast to Coast
Of
AM,
course.
to talk about rods.
Nice.
TV specials about rods.
Did it end up on Fact or Fiction with Will Riker?
I don't think it
Jonathan
did.
Frakes?
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember which paranormal show I first saw it on as a kid in the 90s.
I'll just say right here, I'm unfamiliar with any of this.
Okay. So
But
this is
you heard about this as a
yeah.
kid.
So this is also from 1995, the same time the Chupacabra started out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same year. I think was it 95?
1995 was a big time for paranormal stuff.
Hold on, is it 95 or 94? I might have misspoke. I think it actually might be 94.
Boy, if you get that wrong, people are going to take you to task.
Oh, yeah.
All our credibility will be shot if you get that wrong, Cody.
1994. Sorry, it is 94.
There you go.
So the year before Chupacabra is when when rods become a thing, and it also happens to be around they're getting close to the 70th anniversary of Roswell.
Oh, yeah.
The government had just released the Roswell files in 94, and so that might have been why his sister was like, oh, those are definitely UFOs because UFOs over Roswell.
Oh, yeah, top of mind
Right.
back then.
So again, this is another thing we can blame on fucking Kenneth Arnold, the flying fire extinguisher salesman. This is his fault, goddammit.
All of this
is his fault.
This is his fault. You know what? All of this is fire extinguishers' fault.
Yes.
If not for the fact that we had invented fire extinguishers, none of this would have happened.
Oh, man. So he sets out that this can be replicable. He tells people how they can do this themselves.
Mhm.
That's not what I was talking about either. Holy shit. I was talking about the first time I saw it in the 90s. And I got
Okay.
distracted. So let me go back.
So you say that you were aware of this when you were a kid.
Yes, and I can't remember what paranormal show it was on. Most likely Sightings on the Sci-Fi Channel. Probably around 1995 or 96. Around the first time I'm getting on the internet, to be honest. And I remember seeing this, and I actually bought into it and believed that this was like a real thing. Because it's on video. They have it on video, Garth.
You know what? You shouldn't blame yourself. You were a kid. A lot of adults believed in this. You're going like, yeah, I fell for this. Yeah, you were a kid.
Yeah.
You were being shown a pretty... I mean, I don't know. I'm suspending my disbelief right now and going like, hey, are rods real? That's
Yeah.
cool.
So then he starts telling people like how they can capture these themselves. There's a method that is developed that he claims that if you follow this scientific setup,
Okay.
it weeds out the other possibilities of what it could be.
All the
because-
optical things
Yes.
that might
And we're
going to
get into those in the second half of the show.
Okay.
Because that's, I don't want to spoil all that. Although people probably already have figured out what's going on.
I have an idea, but
Here's the steps, though. He said, okay, you need to set your camera to the fastest shutter speed.
Okay. Can I do this with my phone? 60 frames a second. I
Probably
think
could.
I think I could probably do 120.
I think our new phones actually have like algorithms that account to weed this out.
So this is part of the conspiracy. My phone is gonna
Maybe.
not allow me to see rods. Okay.
Then, and also, keep in mind, our technology is not the technology he's talking about.
Okay, we won't try
This
this,
is the
on
90s.
my phone. Okay.
So he said, and that
This is tape.
So set it to the highest frame rate you can get on it. Point it at like I think it's a 45-degree angle into the sky,
Okay.
preferably in the direction of the sun.
45 degrees off the horizon.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or off of the zenith. The same thing. Okay.
He says 45 degrees,
Okay.
preferably in the direction of the sun, or hell, why not into the sun?
Okay, I see where
Yeah,
we're going with this.
Yes, right. Also, that you need to zoom in.
This is all becoming very clear.
You need to zoom so that like what is the level that the camera is picking up needs to match what your own vision is. So zoom the camera until it matches how you are seeing.
Oh, okay.
'Cause that
so
would
it's a
then-
field of view thing.
Yeah. He's like, so then it makes it like the human observer.
All right. Okay.
And then just film and then go back and watch that film in slow motion and you'll see it.
You know what? I think I can replicate this with my phone. I'm going to try this later on when we go into it, and we'll post it on the...
Yeah.
We'll have the Tumblr gnome posted on our Tumblr. By the way, we have a Tumblr, everybody. If you want to follow us on Tumblr, you can see all the visuals that we
Yes.
reference for every episode. We have a little gnome that works very hard, and we've got images for every single episode that we've done in the last year or more.
Tumblr.com/leasthaunted, and you'll see. And there's other things that get posted too. Lots of fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The gnome is busy. Okay, so there's a little show on History Channel called Monster Quest.
Okay.
Fucking hate Monster Quest.
No kidding.
It's like a paranormal cryptozoology show, pseudoscience. They treat everything. They start from the perspective that everything on there is real.
Okay.
And there's a lot of pseudoscience. It's like the same vein of your ancient astronaut, ancient aliens type bullshit. They do an
Ancient
episode
astronaut.
about rods.
Okay.
This is I think 2008, a little later. I don't know. They do a show about rods. I watched it. It's available on YouTube.
Thousands of bizarre images captured all over the world. Mysterious creatures that live between blinks of the eye.
What are they? That's the tougher question.
Rods.
And based on how during that, they actually they had scientists or an engineering team of students from Iowa University who made models of the rods, and they put them in wind tunnels to see if they could fly. They did a few other experiments to see if they could catch rods. And
I'm just imagining taking just a rod and putting it in a wind tunnel and being like, all right, let's see if...
yes, that episode then got referenced by fucking Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay. Was Joe Rogan into rods?
Momentarily.
Of course he was.
And then he watched the Monster Quest, so he talked about it at some UFC event where he it was a UFC event Q&A, and somebody asked him about
found
rods.
some way of roping that into
Yes, it's like brings
a
it up-
UFC discussion.
And then he makes a comment about what the show found out, which I will reveal after the break. And based on this, Jose then starts a feud with Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So I'm going to explain what the feud was about and why. What did Monster Quest reveal? We're going to talk about the explanation for what is really happening and also explore some other claims related to it. But first, we have to watch the slow motion footage to see if any bones flew through.
Air bones.
Air bones.
Let's go dig in the sky, in the stratosphere for the bones of rods.
We at the Least Haunted Podcast stand with those of the LGBTQIA+ community and especially want to voice our support for the trans community, masculine, feminine, non-binary, and every other of the beautiful assortment of people who are going through so much vitriol and hate in these difficult times.
We welcome you to join our friendly and supportive Discord, and if you want to help support the community or need help yourself, we fully endorse the Trans Lifeline at translifeline.org. We can get through this together.
You are all deserving of life and love, and remember, the world is
more beautiful with you in it.
We're back. Look, so I didn't find any bones in the sky, but I did find a kitty cat. Say hi, Luna. That's my kitty, Luna. All right, you can go now. She hasn't made an appearance for a while. Everybody wants to hear Luna.
We are done with you, Luna. You may leave now.
All right, Luna, you did your work. Get going. Go on. Welcome back. Those were some rods, weren't they?
Rods. Okay.
Rods of sky.
So, let's rewind the tape, look at the slow-mo, and we're going to talk about what rods really are.
Cody, what rods really are? What are rods?
So part of this is a phenomenon, a broader phenomenon that I've noticed.
Is J.J. Abrams a big fan of rods?
I don't know why.
It seems like it's from the sun. It's like fucking lens flares, aren't they?
Oh,
I'm assuming that's what it is.
They're not lens flares.
Okay, that was my theory. I was like, well, if you're aiming it toward the sun at 40, I mean, they're not lens flares.
No.
All right, I'm back to square one. I don't know what these are.
So part of it is explained by this phenomenon that I've noticed that is, so in paranormal stuff, like evidence-wise, gathering paranormal evidence always shifts as technology advances because consumers are now have access to different electronics that they didn't before, and they may not understand all the ways it works. And so they might see weird anomalies and mistake this for something paranormal.
Yeah, so you get a new type of camera. You're going to get new optical things.
So-
and that's a whole new
yes.
genre of...
So the home
Yeah.
video camcorder, as we call it, which, it's a portmanteau of camera and recorder, which camera's recording anyway.
Yeah, that's redundant. I don't know.
The first commercial one was released by Sony in 1983, and it was a Betamax. It recorded beta. Prior to that, film that was recorded for television or movies, you either had like an actual can of film, like real film.
Yeah, they were reel to reel.
Or the camera actually had a cable attached to it that then ran to a separate room where there was a like recording device that was recording it onto film in there.
It was all film reel to reels
Yeah.
before
Yes.
Betamax. Okay.
And even the beta cassettes are still a reel to reel. It's just self-contained and small.
Yeah, because I mean, VHS is reel to reel
Yeah.
if you look inside.
Yes.
Same with tapes, like cassette tapes.
Yeah. So that came out in 1983. And then as the 80s went on, these were also really expensive. And
Yeah.
so they were mostly for videophiles, people who like were really into like video production or
When you'd hire one if you had a wedding and they'd
Yes,
bring
yes.
a film
Videographers,
crew.
yeah.
Sure.
Even a VCR or a Betamax machine would, when adjusted for inflation, would cost about like a couple grand.
Yeah.
So it was like buying a computer now.
Yeah.
Was to get the thing to even watch these tapes.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
But as anybody who grew up in the 80s and 90s knows, eventually camcorders were everywhere. People were taping stuff. I mean, home movies had always been a thing, but they were like on Super 8 cameras.
Right.
Way back in the day. That was Super 8. It's good for looking at Bigfoot.
Yeah.
and
in a very fuzzy
and
way.
presidential assassinations.
Right.
See, meaning that they're just not quite good enough to prove anything. So by the early 90s, when Jose Escamilla catches his rod footage, these are becoming more widespread.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also limited in their technological abilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Their frame rates are not the best. So even though he says like, set it to your highest frame rate, it still doesn't match the frame rate capabilities that like your phone could probably get now. I mean, even today, how many YouTube channels have high speed slow motion cameras as their gimmick? They're still
Right.
kind of expensive, but they are obtainable and familiar enough with the public today.
And frame rate, I think, almost could be measured differently on those old cassette tape type things because you have like sort of an interpolation between. It's not like solid frames like you imagine like a movie projector where it's literally little pictures. It's on digital, so it's all little. The scanners go at a certain rate, and so you have like interpolation and all
'cause
these weird
eventually-
things. It's not straightforward.
Yeah, so eventually the camcorders, like in the mid-90s, they were starting to get into digital. And I think they still were recording to film cassettes, but it was like the whole process was digitized, as you're saying.
Right, but before it was all digital and after it was all old school, like
Analog.
16 millimeter analog.
Yeah.
Like if you were to take a VHS tape from the 90s
Yeah.
and hold it up to the light, you're not seeing
yeah,
little
you don't.
images.
No, you don't. Yeah, it is digital.
It's
Yes,
encoded
you're right.
in this
Yes,
way.
that's
So
correct.
that was kind of a bridge between the
Yeah.
two. And I don't even know how frame rate works in that case.
Yeah.
It's complicated. Yeah.
So early on, people were quick to point out, it's bugs, dude. You're
Bugs.
getting bugs.
This is sort of an orb situation.
Yes.
It's out of focus bugs.
or birds.
But they're tracking in time, so that's why you get long ones with
It's
multiple
what it's called.
wings.
It is. Yeah, this is what you're seeing is a blur effect.
Yeah.
This is
You're seeing a human the way a Tralfamadorian does, with a baby's legs on one side and old man's legs on the other. You're seeing the
Sure.
fourth dimension because you're seeing
Yeah.
it track over time. So a bird flying is going to have multiple wings because you're
yes,
seeing
and
it.
it looks like a long cylindrical object.
Yes.
Bugs are usually more often what's happening because they like make quick changes in direction, and that was one thing that they pointed out about rods is like they seem to move really fast and zip around, and they can change direction suddenly. And
That's
it's
great.
yes. and
Oh, I
so-
love this explanation.
So does bugs, but Jose would defend and say, "No, we have filmed things at slow motion, and you can tell when a thing is a bug or a bird. And rods are like you get bugs, definite bugs in it, but you also get rods. And it's like, depth of field? How far away is it from the camera?
Right.
And if you're filming up into the sky,
Well, and what is the camera focused on?
yes.
Yeah.
And so also filming like up into the sky, for example, or into the sun,
You're going to blow out the exposure.
exposure gets blown out. And as we've discussed many times, when something is against the background of the sky, a sense of scale is lost.
Yep.
So that's why some of these things could be hundreds of feet long. But also, if that was true, wouldn't airplanes crash into them?
Well,
But they're going so fast.
and they're slipping between dimensions, so
Yeah, or
they're not
they're
always there.
or
They're phasing in and out.
or they are traveling so fast that the human eye can't see them, which then got me thinking: how fast is too fast for the human eye?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
It's a question that has been bothering me since 1993.
Wow.
Saturday mornings.
Too fast for the naked eye. Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic, he can really move. Sonic, he's got an attitude. Sonic, he's the fastest thing alive.
The theme song says he's too fast for the naked eye. And so I've always wondered, like, well, how fast is that?
We could probably work it out, or have you done research?
Oh, I've done research.
Okay.
Yeah, and it turns out it's a lot. It's complicated.
From what I hear, as far as frame rate goes, anyway, standard films are done at like traditionally at 24 frames a second. Like old movies, you've seen 24 frames a second. Nowadays, most standard for digital
HD.
video is 29.997 or whatever, or 30 frames a second, basically. Your phone can do 60 or 120 frames a second.
But if you get it too close to reality, it looks weird and uncanny.
It does, yeah. It looks like daytime TV. That's why people had such a problem with the Hobbit movies, filmed at high frame rate. It looks
That's not the
fake.
only reason.
That's the only problem with those movies, Cody. Yeah, it looks uncanny because we're not used to it. It's a contextual thing. The 24 feels more professional, even though it's less like reality. But all that being said, I think they studied it, and it's hard for people to differentiate much above somewhere between 30 and 60 frames a second. You can have 120, and no one's going to be able to tell the difference between 120 and 60. It's just fast. So that being said, if something went really quickly, how quick would it have to go? I have no idea. So what did you find out?
So I got multiple answers. I read one post that was a blog post of somebody who was doing their own calculations, and they were using an example of a football, meaning soccer ball, because they were British, as the example. And they worked out that it had to be going something like 36,000 miles an hour, which but here's the thing.
How far away is it from the viewer?
That is key, though. That's what it ends up. The short answer for all of this is it actually does depend on the observer.
Yeah. The moon is going pretty fast as it orbits the Earth, and it's pretty easy to see that because it's far away.
Now, the idea of things motion blur for cameras, that's been an issue since they started televising sports. Because ball sports, the thing moves too fast and it blurs.
Yes.
And so they actually, like, back in the day, they would film sports at a different frame rate to account for that.
Well, they'd probably have to have a bigger aperture and a faster exposure.
Now, the human eye is a camera. We have about, I think it's like 200 degrees of vision in total. But our binocular vision, like looking straight ahead, is only 170.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised it's that wide, but okay, yeah.
Yeah. Now, there's this question is like, okay, what frame rate are we seeing things at? So they've
That's
done
a tricky one.
So they have done, so there's experiments and very recent research that's been done that has kind of like upended what we previously thought when they found. So one thing is 13 milliseconds is how long it takes for your brain to recognize an image that flashes in front of it.
Okay.
So you can see
any
it for
quicker a thing, and you wouldn't notice that dick that was spliced into the film.
Yes.
Okay.
But for some, it seems that 13 milliseconds is like the fastest. When they flashed images at people, they found out that was like the minimum needed for your brain to recognize. And I think
What would
some
the
apes are
what
around
would-
like 15.
What would the equivalent frame rate for 13 milliseconds be?
I don't know, but
Okay.
let me keep going.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I keep derailing you. Go ahead.
So how about motion blur? Why don't we have motion blur when we see?
I kind of do. Do you not have motion blur?
We don't have it the same you would if you moved a camera.
No. Well, I feel like when I turn my head quickly to try to make a blur, my eyes pin on something, then track. If I scan
so-
between things, I get a little blur.
Basically, you have to understand how this works to understand how fast is too fast for the eye to perceive.
Okay.
Because it actually varies by the individual.
Oh.
And it has to do with something that our eyes are doing constantly that we are not even aware it's doing.
Woo.
And these are called cicadas. Or saccade. Sorry, saccade. It's called saccade
They come out
movements.
every 19
No,
years.
it's a saccade movement, and it is that your eye is focusing and rapidly moving hundreds of thousands of times a day without you even being aware it's doing it.
Just kind of popping
Skating.
between.
Oh, yes, exactly. Popping it. And you might be thinking you're looking at straight on at something, but if you were to like zoom in on the eye, it is focusing, it is moving, and it is jumping from point to point as fast as it possibly can.
Wow.
And it next to blinking, it is like the fastest thing that your eyes and like muscles do.
Wow. I wonder
it's happening-
what is the advantage of that? Are you
Constant
missing?
processing. It is processing your environment, and it has to do with when you track things, your eye does that. It is doing that so that your brain can procedurally block out most of the motion blur that would be going on all the time.
Wow, that is so fascinating.
And so there is been psychological tests done with this, and they've done laboratory tests and mapping people's eye movements and their reaction times.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to be like, it might be something you can train to do, or something that you're naturally good at. You just do it more. But it seems that people who are like baseball players, sports where you're tracking a ball, video games that require quick movements and decision stuff, these people seem to be better at this.
And so it is a muscle you can improve through
Yes.
practice. Wow.
Yeah. Because of that, though, it's hard to actually say, well, what's too fast for the human eye?
Depends on which eye.
Depends on whose eye. Depends also on how close the object is to the observer, how far away. Because, for example, something that's traveling, like we see things all the time that are moving at like 300, 400 miles an hour, and those are planes that are flying
Sure,
overhead.
but they're far away.
They're far away.
If the plane flew
Close to
10
you.
feet from your
Yes.
face, you'd hear it coming, you'd turn, and before you even turned, it would be past
So
you
some of
to
these,
the other
so
horizon.
assuming that these rods are of like a smaller size and closer to the observer, they'd have to be moving close to the speed of sound for us to not see them as they fly by us.
I see.
Yes, right.
I see, yeah.
Which means that we'd hear sonic booms as they flew by,
Oh, right.
and also that
well, maybe if they're always going at a certain speed, but not slowing down past the speed
yeah, what kind of
barrier,
thing
I
never
don't-
stops moving? You know,
A shark, Cody. A sky shark never stops moving.
These are sharks, but they can fly, you say?
oh, that had a second point though.
Sorry.
and I fucking lost it. God damn it, Gar.
Sorry. Me and my quips.
What was it?
You were talking about
Oh, when film has been analyzed of these things if moving,
yeah.
when taken into account for other objects that are in the field of view sometimes and scale, these things are moving like 20 miles an hour. They're not moving that fast, which is
Okay.
more
You know,
credence to the
something
bug
I forgot
hypothesis.
to ask you about these rods. Are they so if you're doing this with a camera and you're scanning from frame to frame, are you seeing these rods in multiple frames in succession, or do they just appear in a single frame?
Sometimes it's a couple of frames.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so between the two, you would see it having moved.
Yes. So it does
Got
give
it.
movement.
That's a
They
very
can
basic
change-
question I
yeah,
should have asked you
They can
earlier.
change direction.
Okay.
So the theory is these are bugs. It's an optical it's an issue with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
They became widespread because of consumer availability of cameras. So people started seeing these things more in the mid 90s, which is why they were never really observed before that.
Right.
Imagine a life form that is all around us moving at high speed, and yet we didn't even know it existed until the 1990s. there were other experiments that were done. I mentioned the one about trying to see if they would be aerodynamically even possible that these things could fly. The models showed they couldn't.
Yeah. Just like the models show that a bumblebee is incapable of flight.
And that is what actually the Monster Quest episode ended up deciding, is that these were an optical illusion. Because remember,
so even Monster Quest.
Yes, because you asked if it was replicable, and the answer was not only is it replicable, but you can set up the conditions to make it happen and predict when it will happen.
That right there makes you think, okay, it's in camera.
It's in camera.
It's something.
And the experiments they did were, well, let's get some moths and bugs to fly in front of a camera at different shutter speeds and see what happens. And lo and behold,
there you go.
It is
That's pretty
the rod.
much proof. Yes.
And
Case
so
closed.
when Joe Rogan mentioned this, he started explaining like how he was really into it. And he's like, but then at the end of the episode, they revealed that these are bugs, man. They're just bugs. And, it's like, oh. And,
I love your Joe Rogan impression.
And so,
it's perfect.
And so
Pull
then Jose saw that as almost like slander.
Yeah.
And so he made a rebuttal video.
I love that in this story, Joe Rogan is like the person bearing like actual facts against somebody else. Pull that up, Jamie.
So yeah, it was like a one-sided beef though, where like Escamilla really thought like I'm in this beef with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's like, dude, what?
Yeah.
I've already moved on to another thing, man.
Yeah.
I think it was in China, there was a government facility where they caught rods on their security camera. Because the question is like, if these, we know that they're bugs, but theorists who still insist they're real.
They're still out there.
They're still out there.
After all this.
Less so. Nobody really talks about it much anymore, mainly because cameras have gotten better.
And they pretty definitively proved, it's just bugs, guys.
We are more familiar with motion blur. Anybody who's tried to use their camera to take a panorama and somebody moves and you get that long effect.
Yes.
So we are more familiar with this effect
that
now.
happens.
That happens.
Your average person knows this.
And so they kind of fell out of fashion. But one of the nails in the coffin when they were falling out of fashion was this event that happened in China at a government facility. They saw the rods and they're like, well, what the hell are they doing? The theorists who are still out there say, well, the rods are attracted to nuclear testing or when we're getting to, they might have be some kind of intelligence behind them that makes them attracted to top secret stuff.
Well, it was kind of like the idea of the Roswell aliens. They came to Earth because we were starting to do nuclear testing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it also, if you're a government facility, you're like, well, there's also weird shit we're seeing on camera. Let's figure this out. And so they set traps.
Nice.
Big nets.
And they filmed. Did they put lights on at night? Because that'd do it.
And they filmed the rods entering the nets. And then they went and checked the nets, and it was moths. So, yeah, it's bugs. Bugs or sometimes birds.
Anything that flies around.
I know the axiom that we always have on Least Haunted is that it's always birds with cryptids.
Right.
But sometimes is bugs.
Yeah. It's always flying things.
Yeah, so the rods...
rods are bugs.
But Jose Escamilla, he built the rest of his career on pushing rods.
How's he doing?
He's dead.
Oh, okay.
He died in 2018 of congestive heart failure. Still believing in rods.
Well,
he had documentaries that he self-produced. He had a production company called Ultimate Dinosaur because of
the other stuff. Yeah,
Donnie the Deinonychus. I watched the rods documentary, and documentary needs to be in air quotes and heavily italicized, because most of it consisted of montages of footage that people had captured of sightings of rods played with music.
Got it.
And then occasionally his style was very much like black screen, white text that introduces early sightings. And then here's just a montage.
Was it entertaining or boring?
Boring.
Okay.
I zoned out many times.
And this is like a TV producer who's made things like a kid show, and boring. Okay.
Then
that's too bad.
This morning, I had to stop doing this, Garth. We're right before we research.
As so often happens, you keep researching an hour before we record and you find a whole new thing, Cody. When will you learn? Stop doing this.
The thing that I learned is I was reading, I think it was his Wikipedia page, and they mentioned him as being a moon his research into the moon. And I was like, what? This is news to me.
Yeah.
What is the research into the moon? Well, it's because before he died, he released a documentary called Moon Rising.
Ooh.
And Moon Rising is all about, there was a mission that flew around the moon called the Clementine mission in February of 1994. Again, 1994.
Everything
1994.
Everything comes back to 1994.
And it took it was like the first time they took all these like full color pictures of the moon in high detail.
Okay.
And then those became publicly available for people to look at.
Sure.
And I think it also has footage of pictures of the dark side of the moon. They orbited the moon and took a bunch of pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at the pictures, his thing is all about artifacts in photographs and video, right?
Right.
So based on this, he came up with this like startling realization that there are cities on the moon. There's aliens living on the moon, Garth.
Really?
And it's being covered up. And so this
but he, even though it was being covered up, he saw it in the footage.
Yes, so he made this documentary, Moon Rising. It's over an hour long, all about analyzing pictures from this Clementine mission and trying to show that there's evidence of there being cities on the moon, large machinery on the moon.
What is he seeing here?
Some are craters that are lighter colored, and he says that's actually a flying saucer flying over the surface of the moon.
So we're getting pareidolia.
Yes,
Okay,
all pareidolia.
Got it.
Pareidolia, the movie.
That's actually a pretty sweet name for a movie.
It's rods, it's saucers on the moon, everything.
Dude,
Pareidolia, the movie.
That's a really cool idea for a horror movie, pareidolia, where some people see faces. Shit.
Oh, they're onto us.
Where some people see faces in things and others don't. That's ooh.
If you see the face, you die.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so that's what I've got on rods. Jose Escamilla. Basically, it's nothing. I mean, it is to cryptozoology what orbs are to ghost pictures. It's an anomaly in
Rod
the camera.
Sterling would be proud. Rod Sterling, not so much.
Not
but
so
no,
much.
no,
Yeah.
Nice job, man. That was great. That was I'd never heard about any of this.
Rods.
And the fact that it was bugs really makes me delighted. Sorry, everybody. Sorry. My phone really should be on silent.
Silence the phone.
That's very unprofessional of me. How the hell do I use my new phone?
And now you're going to talk to me, tell us about
rods from space.
Other kinds of rods.
Yes. So we'll start with a Garth's Corner song.
Space rods, space rods, space rods, space rods.
All right, so here we are in Garth's Corner, all about space rods, or rods from God.
We're on a rod from God.
Now, Cody mentioned that I might want to do this topic, and I'd heard about it before, and I watched a few YouTube videos and did some mild research just to give the basics. So, we're going to tell a little story about the Cold War.
Hooray!
as so often
Back to the
comes
Cold
up.
War.
We're always going back to the Cold War.
It never ended. It's always cold in Siberia. Global warming will solve the Cold War.
There you go. Then it'll be a warm war.
Mm.
Warm, thawing out. Probably smells really bad war. Anyway, so back when Sputnik came up and it was the early space race, everybody was throwing stuff into space. They started trying to come up with agreements to not be just putting nukes in space. Like we're already doing this war on Earth. The last thing we want to do is have war in space. This is a good time to set up some guidelines for everyone on Earth to follow. All the countries, we're going to come up with some international, intergalactic laws not to do weapons in space.
We're all going to pinky swear.
Pinky swear. Same thing with like the moon. The moon's not supposed to be.
Is this part of Reagan's Star Wars program?
This is before that. This is in the 60s. Although Reagan does come into this a little bit later in the story.
Reagan.
Yeah. because Reagan was looking into this rods from God thing, although he didn't call them that. He called them like spectacular pebbles or some shit. But
But his brain was full of holes.
Basically, from the pebbles. So basically what it was everybody agreed in some treaty or other, which is going to hold about as much weight as nothing when anything actually comes up. They all pinky swore, we're not going to have any weapons in space, so... we're because they're sending all these things into orbit. They're making new satellites and like the space program's going. Not only Sputnik was the first, but we have people going into space and new satellites. And it's Sputnik started in I think that was 1957, and then all through the 1960s we're gearing up to go to the moon.
If you can get a nuke into space, you could drop it anywhere you wanted.
Right. I mean, you talk about intercontinental ballistic missiles being a problem. If you just have missiles all over, if you have nukes floating around space all around the Earth, they're all above everybody.
And also the idea
it's going to take no time to get to the ground anywhere on Earth if you're in the right part of the orbit.
And there were still questions about, well, what happens if you detonate nukes in the atmosphere?
Yes. Yeah. well, no, actually, they figured that out
by detonating a nuke in the
when
atmosphere.
They detonated a nuke. There was a small chance that it would catch the entire atmosphere of the Earth on fire. This was dealt with in the movie Oppenheimer. Did you ever see that? Good movie.
No, but I do remember. I'm trying to remember the exact.
There was a small chance that it would destroy the Earth.
There was a nuclear test that went out of control, where for some reason they didn't realize that the fuel that they were using under those types of temperatures converted into a different element, which was even more reactive.
Oh, no.
And so it caused a chain reaction that went way out of control.
Was this earlier on in nuclear testing? Yeah,
it was on an island in the South Pacific.
Oh, Bikini Atoll?
It was after Bikini Atoll. And I think it actually is what radiated. There was a Japanese fishing boat that got radiated by it, and they were so far away because it was an out of control thing.
Oh, boy.
And they didn't tell anybody they were doing it, and so it was way more radiation than they expected. It radiated this Japanese boat, killed the guys on it. They came back with radiation poisoning and all quickly died.
Oh, wow.
That was the inspiration combined with Hiroshima for Godzilla.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know about that.
Sorry to steal your corner.
No, that's all right. There's a Cody's corner in the middle of, we should do a Godzilla episode, actually.
I remember the name of that boat. I know it's the something Maru, but everything was the something Maru because Maru means ship. It's a Kobayashi Maru.
It was the Kobayashi Maru. So, as these treaties are all put into place, and the Cold War's going, but nobody wants to be the first one to be found out to actually have weapons up there. So they're toying with the idea of different kinds of things that technically aren't weapons. What if we just took really heavy objects and dropped them? It's not a weapon if I drop a bullet from way high up in the sky, is it? I didn't shoot it at you. There was no gun involved. I just dropped it. And I let physics do all the work and speed it up and make it a lethal thing.
Let's take this mannequin up in a weather balloon and drop it.
All right, well,
if
we just drop a thing, what is the most lethal thing once it hits the ground to drop? And they finally figured a tungsten rod, solid tungsten, 20 feet long and like a foot in diameter. This is a rod from God.
Tungsten, I think, is the second heaviest after gold.
Yeah, put a couple little wings on it so that it aims true and just drop it. And they experimented with the idea of this. And boy, it would be a gazillion. I forget what the numbers are, but it would be a huge amount of the equivalent of TNT. You could wreck portions of a large city with one of these things.
Just with kinetic force.
Just with the kinetic force. And tungsten has such a high melting point, it's not going to melt in the atmosphere.
Oh,
things falling straight down, they heat up, and most metals and stuff will dissolve and melt.
Tungsten. My wedding ring is tungsten. Here, feel the heft on this.
Do not, if you bring this up into space, Cody, don't drop it, because you could hurt somebody with this thing. It's not going to melt. That's pretty heavy.
It also needs a special if it needs a specialized tool to cut. So if I ever got it crushed on my finger,
you would need some kind of a special quartz crystal.
And I know that tungsten
or something.
is the filament, or was the filament in old style incandescent bulbs.
That's right. Yes.
And I do know that it is a limited resource that we are running out of because they used it in so many fucking light bulbs and burnt it up.
and that's small amounts. Imagine trying to source enough tungsten to be like a telephone pole's worth of tungsten.
Also,
And then here's why they never did this.
because
Spoiler
getting
alert.
it into space.
Exactly.
The weight, yeah.
Let me tell you, these rods from God have never been put into practice because the amount of effort it would take to get something this heavy all the way up into space is just ridiculous.
What if we could harvest tungsten in space? At that point, you just might as well redirect a fucking comet, asteroid, or a missile.
I was actually
right?
thinking.
I mean,
was
a
actually
meteor.
thinking about that. If there was like a little tiny asteroid found in Earth orbit
Yeah.
that like you could just put some rockets on and redirect it, that would be potentially the most dangerous weapon ever created by humans.
Yeah.
You just aim it at a country or whatever, it could destroy the whole world. I mean, an asteroid destroyed the dinosaurs, so. Yeah, big heavy objects in space are scary.
Yeah.
Even tiny little pebbles, like the International Space Station. I think like a grain of sand hit the window and made a huge crack.
Ooh.
That's what velocity does.
Yeah.
You have tiny amounts of any kind of material going that fast.
Well,
and
there's no friction up there. Well, there's not as much friction.
up in space. There's hardly any.
Yeah.
I mean, there's none in real deep space.
Which is why things can go so fucking fast.
Yeah. Things in Earth orbit and low Earth orbit are going to get a tiny bit of friction. But in any case, things going that fast will just have a huge amount of kinetic energy.
Yeah.
And that's what these rods from
That's
God
what
thing
E
are.
equals MC squared says.
Yeah.
The
That's
faster it goes, the mass increases.
Well,
right?
it's about energy to mass conversion. There's no velocity in E equals MC squared.
No.
But yeah, your point is well taken.
Because velocity is speed and direction.
Right. So it would be a different physics. F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration is the one you're thinking of, because with a huge amount of acceleration, even a small mass can produce a large force.
Yeah.
You're not actually converting mass into energy or energy into mass when you're hitting something. This is Garth's Corner.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was just thinking like that was something that they don't really think about with like Marvel's Ant-Man, for example.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, the physics
of superheroes. I mean, like it's if you have Superman.
Every time the Flash moves, there's a sonic boom that just obliterates everybody around.
Yeah,
him.
and if you like, so often Superman swoops in and catches somebody going like 500 miles an hour.
Bones into liquid.
Oh yeah, immediately. He's got to slow down and catch him with a whole lot of.
Yeah.
He's got to have big hold big.
Where does his thrust come from?
Oh, he is flying and changing direction. I don't know if they ever went into that.
I think it was.
I mean, at the point that you can fly, I don't know. Superman developed over time.
Yeah,
because
originally
early
just jumping.
Superman
It's just
could
jumping.
just jump.
Yeah.
Eventually, he could fly all the way, and I don't know if they ever got into the physics of how he can hover, because he's not flying like a bird.
No,
but he has a lot of. He can fly with a lot of force.
Control. He seems to have control of his personal gravity,
and he can push against things even when he has nothing to push against with his legs. He can fly into somebody with force. So yeah, I don't know. Something about the power of the sun, Cody.
Yellow sun.
Anyway, yeah, Reagan was looking into this at some point in the 80s with his spectacular pebbles or whatever the fuck. Nothing ever happened with any of it, and it's it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's the end of Garth's Corner.
It's a bad idea.
Rods from God, bad idea. Let's not keep pursuing it.
Yeah. You didn't think of the energy required to get them into space in the first place.
Yeah.
But no, I do remember when I first heard about rods from gods, I think it was my boss at the time. I was working at the cheesesteak place. He came in one morning super excited. It was like, Cody, have you heard about rods from God? And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, no, it's like if you have like a telephone pole made out of like tungsten and you dropped it from space, it would like be like nuking something from orbit.
I mean, yeah,
like,
he's got the basics right.
Yeah. Like, what?
And I guess the whole point of it is that's not really a weapon because there's no explosives in it. It's just a piece of metal.
They're trying to argue semantics that
it's a workaround from a treaty. Is what it is.
Yeah, the weapon is purely contextual.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember that being.
I guess that's ultimately what we're talking about here.
I remember that being a thing that came up like when I was in like middle school. This idea of school shootings were starting to be on the rise, right?
Sure. Well, I remember that like can't bring weapons to school.
Yeah.
What's considered a weapon?
Yeah, exactly. Like because if I like really wanted to, I could just take my textbook and bludgeon someone good.
You could stab somebody in the eye with a pencil.
Yeah. Protractors don't even get me started on
I don't know. I
compasses.
always heard, I don't know if it's true, but that you're not allowed to have a baseball bat in your car because it's a weapon. But if there's a baseball in there too, then clearly you're using it as a baseball bat.
I remember being told
Is that real?
I remember being
know.
told that I couldn't have an
silly.
axe handle without a head on it in my car.
That's hilarious because
that is an axe handle's a good beating stick.
Yeah, but an axe with an axe head, it's an even better beating
Right,
stick.
yeah.
There's a lot more bludgeoning power with.
I know
axe
some
head.
states, some states don't allow you to have really big mag lights because you could beat somebody. Only the cops can have those, so they can beat you.
Yeah, wait a minute, that's not fair.
Yeah. Well, okay.
We need to extend the Second Amendment to mag lights. Keep everything even.
Well, I think I'm gonna reel in my rod and didn't catch any skyfish.
Do you want to give us a list of the squadrons?
Oh yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun.
We have squatters, and they ought to be talked about.
Our monster squadron patron producers,
I'll
our
do a
squatty.
ukulele compliment.
It's not squatters, it's squatties. Our monster squatties are Travis Alexander, The Barbarian, Rachel Krieger, Tom Dahl, Justin Duckham, Kelly Flynn, Gunnar Franks, Carla Harrington, Havelock, Christina Hurley, New Jared, Ken with 2 N's or Monaken with 3, TJ Levenhagen, Alicia Overton, Jordan Ramey, a different one but the same one, Blue Roan, Seti Fan, and Tatum.
Thank you, everybody. We love you. And I hope everyone's having a good summer.
I'm on vacation right now, if you're listening to this.
We actually are recording this only a few days after Roswell, and I have not edited much of it at all, and I've got my work cut out for me for the next few days. So just so y'all know.
Yeah, recording this on a Monday, and so that I can have this uploaded and ready to release for the following release day because I will be traveling.
Probably the first time that an episode has been completed before the episode before it.
Oh.
That's come out.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have this done probably about a day before I get the one coming out Friday done.
Oh, time is an illusion.
Time is an illusion, everybody.
It's a fiction.
Nothing is real.
Just like skyfish and rods.
We'll find skyfish one day, Cody.
Someday we'll find it. The skyfish connection. The
Podcasters
tungsten, the rods, and me.
All of us.
All right, well, until then... Got to put a stop to this. Until next time, remember, the only thing that's haunted
is you.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Jose Escamilla. The reason I am reaching out to you right now is because I have made a new breakthrough. When I first discovered the rods back in 1994, this is the kind of camera technology that I was using back then. It's almost 2017, and the camera technologies that are available today are far superior than what I was using back then. You would think that by now the rods phenomena would have debunked itself. But guess what? They're still here.
The Least Haunted podcast is recorded before a dead studio audience and is a presentation of Sequoidea Productions, LLC.